Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be going over the news post in-game about the roadmap for 2019, and then towards the end, I will go over the offer in the shop that is going out to a large percentage of the player base and let you know what I think about that. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so I've got a lot of projects in the works in terms of, champion guides, dungeon guides, end game, mid game, all sorts of projects going on, but I want to keep people up to date when it comes to news stuff, so I am going to cover that when it comes out. So as soon as we get a lull of a day or two in the news cycles, I will definitely start cranking out some guides for you guys, but I do want to make sure and go over this news as it hits the community and kind of let you know what's going on. So today we got this post here, the raid update roadmap, see what's coming up in 2019. And then as we click on it, we basically get a little introduction from Polarium talking about, all the exciting things that are coming up in 2019. And I do want to highlight that because it says, with that said, here's what we have coming up over the rest of 2019. And when you think of it, this year's kind of sneaking up on us. We're already in the later stages of the year. So 2019 isn't a long time anymore. We're talking 4 months, September, October, November, December. Within the next 4 months, we should be getting all of this stuff, which is very exciting because, I thought this roadmap that I went over about, 2 weeks ago when Polarium first announced it to the community, I thought this was going to be like, through 2020. I thought this was like the next year or something. So to get all this stuff in the next 4 months, hopefully they can hold true to that, because if they can release this amount of good content and do it well in the next 4 months, that'll bode really well for the health of Raid. So I'm going to go over this and kind of let you know my thoughts on this stuff. New factions, obviously, if we look in the index, we can see the next 4 factions that are going to be released into the game. We've got a spot for 4, I should say. So we've got the Dwarves, which have already kind of been soft released. Obviously, the roster isn't flushed out. They only released like 10 Dwarves or something. And I would assume there's going to be 20 to 25 eventually. But we did at least get them in the game. I would hope that for the next one it's a little bit more flushed out. It kind of felt like Dwarves was rushed a little bit. Only 1 legendary and not a whole lot of utility across the board from Dwarves. Definitely a little bit underwhelming. Some people would say a lot underwhelming, but yeah, probably only 1 or 2 champions worth considering, investing a lot of resources in on the Dwarves. So that's very surprising. I thought, you would want to release a faction with some hype and have some good champions in there. They kind of went the opposite direction with Dwarves, so it was kind of interesting. So in the future, I hope they release factions, even if we have to wait an extra month or month and a half or whatever, give them some time to flush them out a little bit. Release a faction with 20 champions, 2 or 3 legendaries, and champions that do interesting things, good buffs, good debuffs, good in the arena, good in dungeons, good versus the clan boss, and have a lot of different mechanics and utility within that faction, especially if you're going to make them double summoned like they did with the Dwarves. People don't want to be pulling a bunch of Dwarves and be unhappy about it. So hopefully they will do that in the future and have some hyped up releases with new factions. That would be kind of my input on that. Desktop version. This is going to be an epic addition. As they even say here, they are very well aware that a large percentage of the community plays Raid on PC. It's something you can kind of have on the side if you're playing another game, if you're into Hearthstone or Overwatch or whatever, or if you're, doing work on your computer, you can have Raid on another monitor or alt-tabbed or whatever. A lot of people do that. So the fact that we are going to get an actual desktop client that, Polarium claims is going to be officially supported. It's going to run faster, smoother, with better graphics, which they have proven. We have seen screenshots of the desktop version graphics, and they did look very nice and very clean. So this would be great because obviously emulators are not optimal. They're usually, performing less, lagging more, crashing more. It's going to be good for them to release an actual supported Polarium Raid client. So that is awesome, and I hope that comes really soon. Faction Wars. This has been something that has obviously been teased in game you know, ever since I've been playing. I don't know if that's, you know, since release or just within the last, you know, since I started, but, you know, they've been teasing that for a long time, and hopefully they implement this right. You know, it basically just says, well, actually, it doesn't really say anything. It's just a new mode that's tailored to building teams of each faction in the game. So it's going to be a mechanic that really promotes you to develop a lot of different champions across the board in a lot of different factions, instead of having your go-to 5 or 6 champions for, you know, investing in that are pretty, you know, universally good. Well, I can use this champion in dungeons and the arena. You know, now you're going to need to specialize a little bit more because you're going to be restricted to a certain faction in this game mode. Glyphs. These arcane trinkets will not be easy to obtain, but when used correctly, will empower your champions beyond your wildest dreams. So a glyph could be like a temporary buff, something like, you know, how we get an XP buff that is, you know, live for 1 day or 3 days or whatever. A glyph could be something like plus 10% damage in dungeons for the next 3 days or something. It could be like a usable resource that you apply to your army or a specific champion. It could be something like that, because it says when used correctly will empower beyond your wildest dreams. If it's going to be that impactful, it's probably temporary. Or it could be like a resource that you are able to apply to a champion to permanently increase their stats or something. So interesting to you know, follow that, and kind of I'm wondering how they're going to implement the glyphs. Platinum arena tier, probably not a whole lot to go over in that. It's obviously going to be the next rank after gold. Currently the arena goes bronze, silver, gold, and all of those go 1 through 4. So obviously the platinum arena tier is just going to be that next step up, and we're going to have, you know, platinum medals instead of just the bronze, silver, and gold medals. It's just going to be, you know, more rankings for players to try to achieve and to better filter out and spread out the players. The Void Tower. This is going to be really cool. And the main reason I'm going over this stuff is because now we finally get a description of some of this stuff instead of just the roadmap picture, and then we're sitting here, you know, guessing. Now we at least get, you know, a couple sentences. But this foreboding tower has stood abandoned for centuries, its mighty gates barred and closed to the outside. What lies within will require the might of all your champions. Prepare well to exceed. That last kind of 2 sentences, require the might of all your champions and prepare well, kind of strikes me as hinting towards, you know, save up your good champions, diversify your roster. It's going to require the might of all of your champions. Gonna probably have to use a lot of, you know, maybe after you clear a level, it's gonna lock those champions and you can't use them again or something until the end of the event, or till the next week or something. So you're gonna have to use a bunch of different champions. Something like that is what that last 2 sentences kind of stands out to me as. So yeah, that's my best guess there. Tag Team Arena. This is actually different than what I thought it was gonna be. A new arena mode is coming that brings team play and team synergy to the fore. These battles will be longer, harder, and require at least 12 champions to compete with your rivals. 12 champions. I expected this to be like a 2v2 arena, so like 8 champions at max. 12 champions is crazy. This means it could be like a 3v3. So a tag team I thought was going to refer to 2 people. But it looks like this is going to be some sort of like a 3v3 mechanic. So definitely, you know, good to get some insight on that. And it is a little bit different than I thought. New clan boss battle. So this basically says will require vastly different strategy than what you are used to with the current Demon Lord. And, you know, with more champions needed to stand a chance against it. I think I kind of got this one right when I was guessing based off of the roadmap. With the current clan boss, you're basically just fighting one enemy, and it's all about, you know, a one-on-one, apply debuffs and buff your team. There is absolutely zero benefit to having AoE. I believe that this new clan boss is going to be similar to like the Spider Queen, where there's going to be a massive advantage to having AoE, and you're going to need AoE. There's going to be some sort of, this boss is constantly sending waves at you or something, and you have to deal with the wave and hit the boss at the same time. Something like that, so that we can actually have a reason to bring AoE to a clan boss match. I believe it's gonna, you know, kind of be the opposite type of mechanic. Instead of a single target, it's gonna be an AoE type of clan boss. That way we get kind of, you know, both sides of the coin meshing in clan boss battles. And then mythical artifact crafting. New challenges will be trying, and even the mightiest champions need equipment of equal power to carry them through battle. Teleria's best smiths will be put to the test to recreate mythical artifacts, special weapons, and equipment once thought lost to the history books. This will include special sets that won't be attainable anywhere else. So basically the only thing that we get out of this little paragraph for mythical crafting is will include special sets that you won't be able to get any other way. So it looks like this is going to be some sort of anvil, you know, where you I'm guessing it's going to be some sort, if you ever played like Diablo 3 where you salvage items that you never intend on using, you go to the blacksmith, you smash them and salvage them, and you get crafting materials in return. A lot of games have mechanics like that where Diablo 3 is just the first one that came to mind, but you salvage an item and in return you get crafting materials. I think this is going to be a mechanic like that where you acquire crafting materials by smashing items that you don't want, and then you use that crafting mechanic to craft items that will obviously have RNG involved, and you know, you craft it. You'll probably have to wait a certain amount of, usually in games like this you'll have to wait a certain amount of time for that item to craft, or you can speed it up with gems. So you'll probably have to wait, and then once it, you know, finishes, it'll roll stats and show you. That's kind of my guess, and you'll have the opportunity to do special sets. You know, if you get like rare, you know, crafting materials, or if you use a ton of materials or something. That's kind of my best guess there. So yeah, cool to get some input on the roadmap instead of just having the picture. At least now we have a couple sentences, and there was some things to get from that post. Now I'm gonna go over this double XP pack offer that's coming through. I know a lot of people in my Discord, in my clan, I've seen kind of posting about this, so I think it's something that probably a lot of the community got, because, you know, for the event, Plarium probably wants to throw out a good incentive to spend money to complete the event. So I want to go over this offer and talk about if it's a good deal or not. Alrighty, so we've got 600,000 silver, 10 energy refills. You'll have to kind of cater that to your energy. For me, I get 130 per energy refill, so 10 energy refills is 1,300 energy for me, and then gems 600 and 10 days of XP, single XPs. Now this comes out to a retail value of $49.31. Obviously, if we're going to be spending money on the game, we don't really want to pay retail value. We're going to be, you know, wanting to get good value for the money that we spend. So that's where I get my willing to pay price, and I got that at about $32 for this offer. So this one grades out in the bright blue as excellent. This is one of the better offers you're gonna get in Raid Shadow Legends in terms of guaranteed consistent value. You're getting 10 energy refills, which is 400 gems. You're getting 600 gems, which is a decent amount for $19, and 10 days of XP, plus a little bit of silver, which is whatever. That's only worth like $1, that much silver. But now a lot of people, you know, the main pushback I get on, you know, an offer like this is, how can you say 1 day of XP is worth $2.3? How does that even make sense? It should be worth like 50 cents. The reason is, you know, depending on your max energy and stuff, most players are going to be getting 500, or going to be generating about 500 to 700 energy per day. If you do your quests, and if you're efficient with your energy, you're not above max and all that stuff. So when we're farming XP, an XP day basically halves the cost. So like in Brutal, if you're spending 8 energy to farm XP, when you don't have a double XP, you know, live or active, it's basically like spending 16. So to have your energy cost in terms of, for a full day, which could potentially be basically 500 to 700 energy, I mean, think about what would you pay for 500 energy? You know, it's going to be a couple dollars. So, you know, I even went on the low end a little bit, because you're not always going to be farming XP. You have to lower it a little bit, because it's not perfect 1-to-1 ratio of value, because you will be doing other things like dungeons and stuff. So you're not going to be like only farming XP. But if you are solely farming XP, it's worth even a little bit more, I think. So that is how I kind of came to that price and why. But yeah, I think this offer is absolutely incredible. So if you are the type of player who is considering spending money for the event, some of you aren't, some of you are, but if you are, this is a pretty good offer in terms of giving some consistent overtime value in the game. It's one of the better ones you're going to get in terms of, you know, guaranteed value per dollar. So yeah, that's kind of everything I wanted to talk about in this video. And like I said earlier in the intro, I do have a lot of projects in the works. So hopefully the rest of this week I can, you know, do a few champion guides and kind of end game type guides. I did complete all of my missions and got Arbiter, so I'm going to be going over how you can do that as well, and kind of what I wish I would have knew, you know, back before I completed all the missions. And, you know, I'm going to do a few projects on that. So definitely stay posted. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.